On this vote, the ayes are 50, the noes are 49. The motion is confirmed.
Madam President. Okay.
Under the previous order, the motion to reconsider is considered made and laid upon the table, and the President will be immediately notified of the Senate's action.
Madam President.
The Democratic leader.
I want to be very clear about what Senate Republicans are doing. Tonight, Senate Republicans vote to put Emil Bove, a January 6th sympathizer, on one of the highest courts in the country.
A fresh storm is brewing in Washington. The Senate has just confirmed Emil Bove, a senior Justice Department official and former Trump defense lawyer, to a lifetime position on the federal bench. Bove will now sit on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, which oversees major cases across New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. But this wasn't an ordinary confirmation. It came despite serious allegations from multiple whistleblowers, and it's igniting a political firestorm. Bove was confirmed by a razor-thin margin. All 50 Republican senators voted yes. Democrats unanimously opposed him, joined by moderate Republicans Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. One Republican, Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, was absent. Last week, whistleblower Erez Ruvani, a former DOJ colleague, accused Bove of making alarming statements about ignoring court rulings on deportations. According to Ruvani, Bove once told staff they may need to tell courts "fuck you" and proceed with deportations to El Salvador, regardless of legal blocks. Bove denied the allegation under oath, but Ruvani later produced text messages that he says back up his claim. Then it escalated. Another former justice official came forward in support of Ruvani, and on the day of the vote, the Washington Post dropped a bombshell. A third whistleblower now accuses Bove of misleading Congress about his role in dropping corruption charges against New York Mayor Eric Adams. According to that report, 7 career prosecutors resigned in protest after being told to shut down the Adams case, something Democrats allege was done to secure Adams' cooperation with Trump's immigration policies. Senator Dick Durbin, the top Democrat on the Judiciary Committee, blasted the move. Like others Trump has placed in power, Bove's main qualification seems to be blind loyalty to the president. Durbin also revealed he's pushing for access to the full whistleblower complaint and slammed Republicans for fast-tracking the vote. "It appears my Republican colleagues fear the answers," Durbin said. "That's the only reason I see for rushing this nomination before all the facts are public."
Let's go back to the nomination of Emil Bove to a New Jersey seat on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals. An unusual thing occurred with this. He came and answered a questionnaire, as he should, for the White House as well as for the Judiciary Committee, and then appeared before us under oath and answered questions. But what was unusual about this situation is that many questions that he tried to answer, he didn't get close to coming to the truth. So egregious were his statements that individuals who worked with him were willing to risk their career in public service to come forward as whistleblowers to members of the committee and Congress to tell them that Mr. Bove had misrepresented the facts before us. They risked their public careers to come and tell us this information. And as a result of it, some of them are going to have to leave the Department of Justice. But it seems that when given a test of values and ethics, time and again, Mr. Bove fails, and those around him step forward and risk their own careers to tell the truth. So we said, as Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee, to the chairman, we believe these whistleblowers are credible. They're telling us things about Mr. Bove that contradict his testimony before the committee, and we believe that they should be heard. They are willing to come before the committee and take an oath to tell the truth and run the risk of a retribution or penalty if they are found to have misled the committee and misrepresented the facts. You can't ask for more than that. Someone willing to risk their job to tell the truth and then to appear before our committee under oath and testify as to what happened. I think that's credible, and I don't think it's avoidable. We're talking about Bove being appointed to a federal circuit bench that is a lifetime appointment. This is a critical decision, and we need to have the facts before the American people. So what was the response of the Republican on the committee, the chairman? They turned us down. They don't want to hear any whistleblowers. They don't want to hear people who are willing to stand before us under oath and tell us what actually happened with Mr. Bove and his misrepresentations to the committee. As members of the conservative legal establishment have noted, Mr. Bove's nomination represents an alarming departure from the type of nominees we considered under the first Trump administration. Like under other individuals President Trump has installed in the highest positions of our government during his second term, Mr. Bove's primary qualification appears to be his blind loyalty to this president. As acting Deputy Attorney General, Mr. Bove personally ordered the terminations of dozens of career federal prosecutors who worked to put violent January 6 offenders behind bars. Remember what happened January 6th? Vice President Pence was sitting in the president's chair. We were counting the ballots for the Electoral College to determine who won the presidential election, and we had to stop. The Capitol Police came in, took the vice president off the podium, and then notified us that there was a demonstration taking place in the Capitol building that was dangerous. I remember the first thing they said to us, stay in your seats. This is going to be a safe room. You can stay here. 10 minutes later, the same policeman came up and said, we're wrong. It isn't safe. Leave as quickly as possible. We filed out that exit door. All the members of the Senate, the vice president was gone. These demonstrators swarmed through the Capitol, attacked the Capitol Police, who were there trying to defend the building and the people in it, causing 140 of them to be injured, and 5 of them lost their lives as a result of this.
Despite the backlash, Bove's confirmation sailed through. But with 3 whistleblowers, text message evidence, and resignations inside the DOJ, critics say this isn't over. Emil Bove is now a federal judge for life, but the controversy around his rise to power may have just begun.
The gentleman from New Jersey.
I appreciate it. I want to thank Senator Schumer, the Democratic leader, for his words. This is a really tough moment for me, not just because this is in New Jersey. This is someone who has had something I've never seen before. Hundreds of judges, hundreds of federal prosecutors and federal public defenders from both parties come forward saying that Emil Bove should not be on the Third Circuit as a judge for a lifetime position. Not only that, but that his temperament, using vulgarities to show that to claim that folks should disobey, the Trump administration should disobey court orders, is disqualifying him from being on the bench. That would have been one thing that bothered me, but the other thing is the fact that he has had some of the worst ethics violations of any judge I've seen come before the Judiciary Committee. Holding back exculpatory evidence when he was a prosecutor. He was called by former prosecutors and former defense attorneys as the drunk driving version of a prosecutor, reckless and dangerous. And then finally, what was the ultimate frustration was we saw a whistleblower came forward who impinged his testimony with receipts, but there were other whistleblowers trying to come forward, afraid for themselves because of this climate in which people who stand up and speak the truth are often targeted and attacked. And their lawyers, contrary to what my colleague was saying on the floor, the lawyers were trying to get somebody in the Republican Party just to listen to the evidence, and no one wanted to even listen. This is a sad day for our democracy. This is a sad day for the judiciary. And it's a sad day for the United States Senate, whose constitutional obligation is to advise and consent, to look at all of the evidence, especially when you have whistleblowers standing up with courage and wanting to speak the truth, not even to listen to it. We saw those tactics in the Judiciary Committee, not wanting to have debate, not wanting to have discussion, rushing this nominee through as quickly as possible to this floor for a vote before any more evidence could come out, before another 200, 300, 400 judges or prosecutors can come out with damning indictments of this man's qualifications. This is a very unfortunate day for the United States Senate, a very unfortunate day for the state of New Jersey, very unfortunate day for the Third Circuit. And I am expressing my deepest disappointment in this body and its abdication of its responsibilities. Thank you, Madam President.